Welcome back, everybody, to the Pittsburgh Pirates franchise here on MLB The Show 20. As today, we continue the early part of season number 4 now. Currently in the early stages of April. Last episode, we had opening day against the Cincinnati Reds, which was a nice win. And then we played in Fenway against the Boston Red Sox and beat them 9-5. Currently, our Pirates are 7-4 in a three-way tie for first place in the Central with the Brewers and the Cubs. So it looks like it might be a long division race with those two teams again. Cardinals also in the mix at 6-5, but we can't be worrying about standings in April when 11 games have been played. We're going to be covering the minor league opening days, both AA and AAA. Also going to be watching a major league game as well. So get your popcorn ready because it's going to be a long one. It's going to be a fun one. That's what she said. Now let's get on to the action. We're going to be watching the AA team first. The AA team actually won the Eastern League Championship last season, so that's fun. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces as well. Guys like Mickey Moniak, Kiki Javere are back. Also, Pablo Cairo will be starting the season in AA. He will not be playing the whole season in AA, probably within the next month or so, as long as he plays well. He's going to get called up to the big leagues. I think he's ready. He's only 19 years old, but he's already pretty good now. And we just want to, A, give him an extra year of MLB service time, and B, make sure that he's MLB ready now. We don't want to do anything that'll harm his development. Also got Art Rosado. He was our third-round pick last year, so he's now with the squad. Got some more familiar faces like Jorgensen, Chavez. Got some new faces like Miguel Santiago, Estevan Florial, Clyde Gaskins. So it should be fun. This team's a little bit different than it was last season, but maybe they'll be good again. The ace is Patrick Magana. We got him in a trade involving Joe Musgrove with the Seattle Mariners. A trade that I assume not a lot of you liked, I would think. But I didn't want to pay Musgrove, and Magana is a really, really good prospect. I think he has like 93 potential. So he'll probably be a starter with our everyday rotation next year. I really like the rotation as a whole. Barack Urzak and Felipe Benitez were both good in AA last year. Got Robbie Cortez. He was our first-round pick last season. He will be in the rotation as well. And then the bullpen is very solid, headlined by our fourth-round draft pick, Rob Hills, who has 90 potential, an absolute gem in the middle of the draft, which was a very solid pick. He's a left-handed closing pitcher. Hopefully we get to see him in action today, as the Altoona Curve would kick off their season against the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, the AA affiliate of the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's take a look at these lineups from 1 to 9. Regular starters for the Altoona Curve. Fisher Cats have 4 lefties in a row at one point. 9, 1, 2, and 3. All lefties. That is really interesting to me. I'm kind of surprised they're doing that. I mean, they are facing against a right-handed pitcher, granted, but there are a few lefties in this Altoona bullpen, so we'll see if that comes back to bite them in the butt. As John Myers, the 21-year-old righty, gets to start for the Fisher Cats. 5'11", he's tiny for a pitcher, but he's built. As here is Mickey Moniak going to lead off the inning for the number 1 overall draft pick back in 2016 by the Phillies, ripping a single into left. Kiki Javere now up at the plate, gets that one up the middle just a little. However, the Fisher Cats will turn 2 as we move to the bottom of the first. The 20-year-old Patrick Magana on the mound. He was drafted by the Blue Jays organization, coincidentally, then traded to the Mariners, now with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So this is his third organization, and he got drafted, I think, in the same draft as Pablo Cairo, which was fairly recent. As the first batter of the game, TJ Friedel with the base hit. A few batters later, it's the cleanup hitting catcher, Juan Cedeno, striking out as we move to the second inning. Manuel Medrano up at the plate, one of the more raw prospects in this organization, but he has quite a bit of upside as he gets it one past the glove of the shortstop, Kevin Smith, for a base hit. And Altoona has themselves a runner on as they try to start a little 2-out rally. The German native, Ryan Jorgensen, up at the plate, rips a ball deep in a left. It goes off the wall. Medrano rounding third, headed home. The play at the plate is going to be not in time, and the Altoona Curve will take the lead off of an RBI double by Ryan Jorgensen as we move to the bottom of the second. Andrew Monasterio, that's a sick name. He strikes out. Good inning for Magana. And we go to the third now. Pablo Cairo 1-1 pitch as he is swinging in the dirt. Moniak is thinking about second. Trying to retreat back to first. This is getting ugly. And eventually he would be tagged out, ending the inning. Ending a very strange way to end the inning. As we go to the bottom of the third now. TJ Friedel up at the plate. That ball is crushed deep in right field, back at the track at the wall, and it's out of here. 2-run shot for Friedel. That one barely sneaks over the fence, 345 feet. And the Fisher Cats now take the lead 2-1. A couple batters later, here is Jose Marmolejos. He's going to strike out. We go to the top of the fourth inning. Miguel Santiago! If it's fair, it's gone, and it just curves foul. Oof. Not what you want to see there. Good effort from Santiago. And instead, he's going fishing. Didn't catch anything with that bait. Nice pitch by John Myers. And we go to the bottom of the inning. 1 out for the designated hitter, William Paulson. As that one is going to be flown out to right. Or nah. Awful defense by Art Rosado. His glove is not the best. He's fast. He has good contact, good power, but he cannot play defense. He might have to be this team's permanent DH if we're being honest. Luckily, the inning would come to an end as Griffin Conine would fly out to center. Moniak does make the catch. Score will remain 2-1 as we go to the fifth. Manuel Medrano, the only one to score so far for Altoona, going to start the inning off with a bang. Deep into right center field. Medrano fought about 3, but it's going to stay at 2 for a no-out double. Medrano now 2 for 2. Now we got runners on the corners for Santiago Chavez, the catcher. And that one would be dropped by the right fielder, Conine. Run will score, and this game is tied up at 2. Just like that, nice hit from Chavez. As Clyde Gaskins now up at the plate. He was part of that big trade with the Washington Nationals. I think the biggest part of that trade was probably relief pitcher Wander Suero going to the Pirates. As Gaskins hits a single. Now runners on the corners, 2 outs for Pablo Cairo. Is this his time to shine or to have awful base running again? Seems like these guys don't want to run the bases when Pablo Cairo is up at the plate. I don't know why. Bottom 5 now, Juan Cedeno going to strike out. Patrick Magana is starting to cook. We go to the 6th inning. Art Rosado crushes it deep in a right field. And as Matt Vasgersian would say, Santa Maria. Art Rosado hits his first career home run as a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. And the curve will now lead at 4-2 as we got a pitching change. Very tall glass of water here. The 6'6", 220-pounded Brian Baker. He's built like a Denver Bronco quarterback, or at least John Elway's fantasy quarterback. Nice strikeout there from Baker as we move to the bottom of the 6th inning. Going to open up the inning here with a single off of the bat of Kevin Smith. Following batter, Logan Warmoth now up at the plate. Going to ground that one to short. 6-4-3 double play. The Altoona infield is more chemistry than a science project. Warmoth is not happy with the call at first. He thought he was safe. But nah, son, you're out. Go back to the dugout. Paulson now up at the plate. He hits this one pretty high into right. And Rosado does make the play this time. There you go, Art. That'll likely end Patrick Magana's day. Very solid 6 innings from him as we move on now to the 7th inning. Ryan Jorgensen's had a few big hits today. He will strike out there. As Brian Baker really starting to pitch well. Clyde Gaskins now up 1-2 pitch. Lines this one into right, and it will drop for a hit. Actually, it's going to go over the fence. So that'll be a ground rule double for Gaskins. Now there's a runner in scoring position with 2 away for Mickey Moniak. And he's going to go down on the low changeup. Good way to get out of the inning for Brian Baker and the Fisher Cats as we move to the bottom of the inning. The Japanese native, Leonard Iguchi, is now in here in the bottom of the 7th. Iguchi had an excellent season last year at the Altoona curve as he's going to strike out Andrew Monasterio. Now let's fast forward to the 9th inning. Rob Hills is now into the game for the save. Score remains 4-2. Nothing really happened in the rest of the 7th or the 8th or the top of the 9th as the leadoff hitter going to open up the inning with a double. Pablo Cairo had trouble fielding the baseball. And now the tying run is up at the plate. One away for William Paulson. He's going to strike out. Nice pitch from Hills. Now the final strike of the game is down to Monasterio. He strikes out. The Altoona Curve will open up their season with a victory by a final score of 4-2. They defeat the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. Patrick Magana gets the win. Rob Hills played very well in his lone inning. He gets the save. The bats were pretty good. 11 hits, 4 runs. Only home run of the game was by Art Rosado. I think the bats were good enough. Along with the pitching, Patrick Magana pitched fairly well. The bullpen did their job. 2 shutout innings from Iguchi. He did not allow a single base runner. And then Rob Hills shut the door as well. The Fisher Cats offense wasn't bad. They only scored their runs on that one dinger by Friedel. But nonetheless, good start to the season for Altoona as we now transition our focus to the AAA squad, the Indianapolis Indians. New faces in the lineup, similar faces in the lineup. Gosu Kato is returning from last year. Alexander Canario has been called up. He was a big part of the AA championship run last year. Of course, Wander Franco is now here. He was acquired in a massive offseason trade with the Tampa Bay Rays. Kind of like Pablo Cairo, I think Franco will be called up to the bigs fairly early as long as he plays well enough. Koizumi Satoshi, Israel Cuevas, they were both part of the big AA team last year. So for the most part, this AAA squad is fairly different. Got some of the big names in this lineup like Travis Swaggerty now with the Major League club. And then we look at the pitching rotation, of course, headlined by Santiago Osuna, another guy who I think will be called up to the bigs fairly early in the season. Osuna did struggle in spring training. His ERA was in like the 6s, but as long as he pitches well enough, I think we will have him called up. The rest of the rotation's really solid. Domingo Robles was very good last year. Quentin Priester had a good season in AA. Ayala has been a good pitcher for us. And then the bullpen, really talented bullpen. A lot of borderline major league guys like Rios, Santana, Richard Rodriguez, Dovydas Neverauskas, Gaylord Dixie getting called up from AA. So there's a lot of talent on this roster, and I think this team could do quite well this season. As of the opening game would be against the Toledo Mud Hens, the AAA affiliate of the Detroit Tigers. Seems like every year the Indians' opening game is against the Toledo Mud Hens. I think every year it has been against Toledo, which is weird. Here's a look at both lineups for this game. 1-9 on the mound for the home Indianapolis Indians would be Santiago Osuna. He's no longer the number 1 prospect in the organization since Wander Franco is now here. Osuna will still happily take the number 2 spot for the best prospect on the team. He's the number 4 prospect in baseball, by the way. Leadoff hitter Eric McGrath, shopping gap. Good start for the Mud Hens as they already had themselves a runner on scoring position very quickly into this ball game. Tristan Lutz now up at the plate, 1-2 pitch, going to go down to a 4-seam fastball. Santiago Osuna is not a huge strikeout guy, but it's good to see him getting a couple here. The left fielder Kevin Griggs now striking out as we move to the bottom of the first inning. Tariq Skubal getting the start for Toledo. He has never pitched a major league game. He's been a top prospect on this team for a while now, 26 years old. You'd figure that a team with the amount of talent that the Tigers have, they could use like a 78 overall starter. Here's Wander Franco's first at bat with the Indians as he would ground out. Could have been a base hit, but Eric McGrath makes a really nice play at short. Now we go to the second. Jacoby Jones up at the plate. He's not really known for his bat at all, to be honest, as that one goes off the top part of the wall. The left fielder, Koizumi Satoshi, makes a very bad play on it. That is an inside the park home run for Jacoby Jones, and the Mud Hens now lead this game by a score of 1-0. Let's move to the bottom of the inning. Israel Cuevas up at the plate. He's going to strike out. Nice high 97-mile-an-hour fastball from Skubal. Alexander Canario now up at the plate. He had a few big hits in that deciding championship game last season over the Pawtucket Paw Sox, as that'll be a triple for Canario. Now with 1 out, the Indians have themselves a runner 90 feet away from home. This is an opportunity to capitalize. 2 gone now for the catcher, Ner Luis Martinez, who will ground out to second. Doel Lugo makes the play, ending the inning, and we advance now to the third inning. Tristan Lutz up at the plate. The 3-2 pitch. He would go down on the upstairs fastball. Osuna's doing a nice job of striking out batters for the most part. Bottom 3, Miguel Mota up at the plate. 5-4-3 double play. Jerko to Lugo to Schwindel. Nice defense from the Mudhens. Tariq Skubal really pitching well today. As we go to the fourth, Jacoby Jones strikes out. Santiago Osuna as well has had a really good game himself. Bottom four, Jorge Velasco going to strike out on the fastball. Joel Lugo now up at the plate, leading off the fifth inning, as he's going to whiff at the high curveball. That pitch was asking for disaster. Jed Jerko now up, former Major League veteran. He's going to go on the bench after that strikeout. Osuna has been striking out batters left and right, which is crazy. Bottom five now, Rosel Herrera, the utility player up at the plate. He can play pretty much every position on the field. He's going to rip a double into left field, and now the Indians have themselves another runner in scoring position. They've got themselves an opportunity to capitalize. And there, Luis Martinez now up. He's going to go down on the outside fastball. Little lefty on lefty crime there. 3-2 pitch now for Jared Makepeace. He led AAA in batting average last year. He had like a 340 for the Indians. He would fly out, however, to left. Griggs makes the play, ending the inning, and we move on to the sixth inning. Tristan Lutz leading things off. He goes down to a four-seam fastball. Osuna is having a whale of a game right now, as Frank Schwindel would also strike out. Now Kevin Griggs. Can Santiago Osuna get the hat trick with K's? You bet he does. 1-2-3 inning for Osuna as the Mudhens go down. Santiago Osuna has only allowed 3 hits and 1 run. That would end his day. 10 strikeouts. That's a lot for him. Bottom 6 now. Wander Franco up at the plate. Weak little fly out to center. As good as Santiago Osuna's been, one could argue Tariq Skubal has been even better. Gaylord Dixian will now enter the game. The 22-year-old righty coming off a good season last year in Double-A Altoona, as Justin Smoke, former Major League first baseman, going to strike out. Bottom 7 now, Skubal still in. Jorge Velasco up at the plate. As another nice play by Eric McGrath. However, the first baseman, Frank Schwindel, forced to step off the bag. That'll put a runner on with nobody out, by the way. For Israel Cuevas, the power bat, he goes down on the 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Alexander Canario now up at the plate, rips this one past third base for a hit. However, Velasco was, I don't know what he was waiting for, so he's going to be tagged out at second. On to the 8th inning now, 2 away for Eric McGrath, as the second baseman has to make a hustle for that play. Wander Franco with a good defensive play as we move to the bottom of the 8th. Skubal still in. Score is still 1-0. He's only at 87 pitches, by the way. That's fairly low. As Frank Schwindel getting dirty on that one, having to slide to make that play. Following batter, Jared Makepeace grounds this one to short. Another diving effort, this time from McGrath. However, the first base umpire says that Makepeace is safe. Following batter, Koizumi Satoshi up, and that one, get ready for this flawless base running. Do I even need to explain what happened? MLB The Show, you need to fix your base running, okay? Your base running logic is off. Your base running controls are off. San Diego Studios, please fix your base running. As Davidas Neverauskas, the Lithuanian native, enters, he strikes out Lutz. Ends the inning off, striking out Kevin Griggs. Good inning from Neverauskas as we go to the bottom of the 9th. All the Indians need is 1. That's all they need. Miguel Mota going to lead the inning off with a base hit. Hey, the tying run is on base. The winning run is at the plate. Pitching change for Toledo. Ronald Marquez is now in. They don't want to keep Tariq Skubal in any longer. He pitched 8 dominant innings. As Israel Cuevas up with 2 outs, he's going to go down on the inside fastball. Or the inside slider, excuse me. I don't know where I got fastball from. That's how your game ends. A very low-scoring, pitcher-dominated game. The Toledo Mudhens win it by the final score of 1-0. And the only run of the game wasn't even at the fault of the pitcher. It was at the fault of awful defense. Tariq Skubal and Santiago Osuna both pitched very well. Osuna takes the loss, but he is not to blame. The lineup was just not good. 6 hits. I mean, Toledo's lineup had 3. It's not like their lineup was any better. As we now look at the Major League squad, we would do a little bit more simming. The Pirates are now 12-6, first in the NL Central. who's playing well, who's not playing well. So I would say our big three so far is Oneil Cruz, Josh Bell, and Benny Lynn. All three of them have been outstanding so far. I think Benny Lynn is second in the MVP race behind Christian Yelich, coming off a 3-home-run game in the sim against the Miami Marlins, which is cool. Dylan Carlson's been meh, Brian Reynolds has been meh, and then the bottom of the lineup is where things get ugly. Brian Hayes is not doing well, Mejia is not doing well. Kemp has been all right, McCutcheon's been nah. Astudillo and Alberto have not been anything special. Looking at the pitching rotation, Jameson Taillon's been sufficient. Julio Urias has not been sufficient. Those are not good numbers. I mean, he's striking out quite a few batters, but that doesn't matter if you're allowing runs. Mitch Keller's been fine. Jordan Yamamoto's been killing it. Brandon Waddle as well, doing well. As we look at the bullpen, Adonis Medina has had an excellent start to the season. I was not expecting this from him. Sub-2 ERA, sub-1 whip. You love to see it. And then the bullpen, for the most part, has actually been fairly good. Wander Suero has been excellent. Michael Givens has been very good. Clase has a high whip, but very low ERA, which is what you want to see. Raisel Iglesias hasn't been too good. But the rest of the bullpen, Will Smith and Pedro Baez have very high whips. Like, their ERAs are fine, but they have whips higher than 2, which is strange, but we're in the month of April. I'm not too worried, and then Ken Giles is kicking butt. Do have a few big injuries, though. Travis Swaggerty is going to be out for about a month or two, and then Santiago Osuna actually pulled his shoulder. By the time Osuna gets healthy, which is pretty soon, maybe that's when we call him up. Maybe, just maybe. So here we go. The Pirates going north of the border today to take on the Toronto Blue Jays, who have gotten themselves a hot start to the season, currently with a record of 13-7. They're in a very tough division. The Rays, Yankees, and Red Sox were all very good last season. As we look at the lineups, a lot of familiar faces on the current-day Blue Jays. A lot of new faces as well, guys like Kyle Schwarber and Max Muncie now with the squad. Alec Manoa is getting the start. He has a very nice ERA at 1.69. The whip is also quite good at 1.22. As Josh Bell is up at the plate. Josh Bell is hitting .381 at the moment. He has been a machine. However, this time he will ground out to second. 1-2-3 inning for Manoa. As we go to the bottom of the first, it'll be Jordan Yamamoto, the Hawaiian native, getting the start for the Pirates. He's had a good start to the campaign, currently with a 2.76 ERA. As Jonathan Davis leading off the inning, that one gets over the head of the shortstop Oneil Cruz, and it'll drop for extra bases as McCutcheon fields it cleanly. Andrew McCutcheon, now an everyday player, by the way, with Travis Swaggerty's injury, as that's a double for Davis. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. now up, and Vladdy Jr. going to go down on the outside off-speed pitch. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. now up. He goes down on the curveball. Good inning for Yamamoto, striking out the final 2 batters, and we go to the second inning. Big Ding Lin going to lead things off. It's Benny Lin who hits a single into center, so that'll put a base runner on and nobody out. Benny Lin has had a phenomenal start to his second season. Only 20 years old, and he is looking like a bona fide star. Brian Hayes has not looked like a star this season. He strikes out. We go to the bottom of the second as Max Muncie goes down on the slider. Muncie was the big acquisition made by the Blue Jays this offseason in free agency. Mike Moustakas as well going to strike out. And then can Yamamoto end the inning with a K? Yes, he does. 1-2-3 hat trick inning. Kyle Schwarber that time strikes out. And we go to the third inning now. Brian Reynolds gonna lead things off. He will chip that one into left. What a catch by Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber's a donut away from 260, but shoot, making very nice defensive plays, showing off the glove work. Excellent catch by Schwarber as the game is still tied at 0. Moving on to the bottom of the third, Randall Grichik leading things off. He's going to go down on the high fastball. Nice pitch from Jordan Yamamoto for the first out of the inning. Jonathan Davis, the leadoff hitter now up at the plate. 2-2 pitch. He's going to go down on the slider. Jordan Yamamoto really pitching well. So is Alec Manoa, however. As we go to the fourth, Oneil Cruz leading things off. He's going to strike out looking. That looked like a ball if you ask me, but whatever. 2-2 pitch now for Josh Bell. He goes down on the two-seamer. Nice pitch from Manoa, who has pitched a gem so far. Bottom for Cavan Biggio, the son of Major League legend Craig Biggio, striking out Lourdes Gurriel now up with 1 out. He's going to ground that one to Kemp. Over to Cruz, gets it to Bell, 4-6-3, double play. Nice defense by Pittsburgh as we move on to the 5th. Dylan Carlson up. He's coming off a phenomenal second season so far in his 3rd year. He's been quiet. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been exceptional as he hits the single into left center. Once again, not a great pitch, but, he still hacked at it anyway. Brian Hayes now up. He's going to draw a walk. So 2 runners on and nobody out. This is a prime opportunity for the Pirates to score. Now 2 outs. Runners on the corners. 2-2 pitch for Tony Kemp. And that ball is hit high, somewhat deep and right, but not deep enough. It would be caught, and the score remains tied at 0. Another low-scoring pitcher's duel as we move on to the bottom of the inning. Full count pitch, 2 outs for Kyle Schwarber. He's just a window shopper. Say it with me, kids, because he's just looking. Still tied at 0. The Pirates only have 2 hits today. The Blue Jays only have 1. As we go to the 6th, Brian Reynolds has, he almost had one of those hits earlier, and now he will get a base hit. Reynolds gets that one into center, the first extra base hit today for the Pittsburgh Pirates, as Toronto's going to make a pitching change. Sean Reed-Foley will now enter. He's been busy so far this year. It doesn't mean he's been good, as you can see by his numbers. As his first victim would be Josh Bell, grounds this one to short, and he bobbles it. Lourdes Gurriel bobbles it. Reynolds will score, and finally, somebody is on the board. It took nearly 5.5 innings, but Josh Bell with the RBI single, as it's now 1-0. Benny Lane now up at the plate. Why stop there? Big Ding Lane absolutely crushes it. The 20-year-old Japanese phenom with his 10th home run of the season, and the reigning National League Rookie of the Year is going to touch them all 1 foot more than the magic 420. Bottom 6 now, Jordan Yamamoto still pitching very well as he strikes out Grichik. Gabriel Moreno now up at the plate, or Moreno, however you say it, he strikes out. Jonathan Davis now up. Can we get another hat trick from Jordan Yamamoto? Not quite. That'll be a base hit for Davis, getting over the glove of O'Neal Cruz. Davis' second hit of the game, as Cavan Biggio now up at the plate, 2-1 pitch. Davis is headed for second, and he's out. Francisco Mejia guns him down. Part-time ball player, full-time sniper. Top of the 7th now, Tony Keller, more blind than Helen Keller. I don't know what he was swinging at. Sean Reed-Foley gets out of the inning. Let's move to the top of the 8th now. Brian Reynolds now up, as that one will drop in the left, somehow fair, as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Kyle Schwarber both cannot make a play on it. O'Neal Cruz now up, 1-2 pitch. He's going to strike out. That curveball was right down Main Street, too. He wanted to hack at that. As a little pitching change for Toronto, Jordan Romano now in. I don't know why they made the pitching change, but okay. As 2 runners on for Benny Lane, he's going to draw a walk. Have yourself a day, Benny. And the bases are now loaded. Can Dylan Carlson break open this game? Well, not quite, as that ball is hit high, fairly deep into left. It would be caught. The runner would advance safely. That is Brian Reynolds. And the Pirates now lead this game by a score of 4-0. Bottom 8 now, Yamamoto at 104 pitches, as he will get Max Muncie to go down looking. Kyle Schwarber now up at the plate, and he rockets this one deep into right center. No doubt about it. The shutout is no more. And Schwarber with his 9th home run of the season. He has 9 home runs, but only 14 RBIs. That's kind of sad. Pittsburgh is not going to waste any time to make the pitching change. They're going to put Ken Giles in now, which is fairly interesting, even though he's the main closer. Giles taking on his former team, by the way, as he strikes out Randall Grichik. And we move to the 9th. Andrew McCutchen going to lead things off, as that one gets over the head of Vlad Jr. If Vlad Jr. didn't have, how do I say this nicely? If he didn't have some beef in the tummy, probably would have made that catch. As Andrew McCutchen unable to score, as Brian Reynolds will ground out to second. And the Pirates lead at 4-1 going into the final inning of the game. Gabriel Moreno going to strike out. The final hope of the game for Toronto is Cavan Biggio, who crushes this one deep and right. This one will reach the seats, and it is now 4-2. Biggio's first home run of the season, and Toronto is not quite out of it yet. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. now up, full count pitch. Rockets this one to O'Neal Cruz. Nice defensive play. And the Pirates skip a win by a score of 4-2. Good win against Toronto, who's been a good team so far this season. Jordan Yamamoto pitched very well in this one, 7 2/3 innings, only allowing 1 run. The bats weren't great, but a few big hits here and there, mainly the home run from Benny Lane, was able to help us get the win. Carlson and Bill also drove in runs in this one. Giles does get the save, his 9th of the season. He's been very good so far. The Blue Jays could not hit the ball today. 4 hits. They did score twice off of solo home runs by Kadan Biggio and Kyle Schwarber. Alec Manoa got the loss. He did pitch really well, though. So we did a little bit more of some simulating to the later part of April. Currently 15-9, tops in the NL Central. And that'll bring us to the end of the episode. Maybe next episode we call up Santiago Osuna, Pablo Cairo, and Wander Franco. Maybe, just maybe. Keep your eyes open. Hope you all enjoyed. I'm out. Peace.